And let's start with some national news first. The smog-filled air of India's capital, New Delhi, has been declared unfit for human habitation by a leading doctor in the city. Dr. Arvind Kumar has said that the city's air was causing damage to lung health and could actually shorten the life of the 22 million people who live in the city. Officials on Friday have said that there are plans to spray water over New Delhi to combat the toxic smog that has triggered a pollution emergency. The deadly smog that has enveloped New Delhi could actually affect tourism in the national capital, according to the survey by Associated Chambers of Commerce and Industry of India. The toxic smog is likely to affect the economy in sectors including tourism. The survey claims that Delhi is bound to drop off from the map of international tourists, and many of the tourists who are in the city are in fact planning to leave as they are facing respiratory problems. The Belgian royal couple King Felipe and Queen Mathilde played cricket with the children in India's western city of Mumbai on Friday. The royal couple, who are on a week-long visit to India, were joined in by former Indian cricketer Virender Sehwag. King Felipe showed off his batting skills as he hit the ball cleanly during the game that was organised by UNICEF. The 23rd edition of the Kolkata International Film Festival kicked off in style on Friday in India's eastern West Bengal state. Bollywood actors Amitabh Bachchan, Shah Rukh Khan, Kajol and British film director Michael Winterbottom presided over the inaugural ceremony of the 7-day festival. In the Gala Festival, 143 films by 135 directors from 53 countries were to be screened across 12 venues. Now, out of the 143, 93 would be of foreign language films and 50 will be Indian films. The Chinese President Xi Jinping on Friday has called for closer cooperation between the Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation and the Association of the Southeast Asian Nations. Xi has proposed that two sides work together to advance regional economic integration. Xi has further said that both sides should actually make joint efforts to build an open economy in Asia and the Pacific, as well as a framework of regional cooperation featuring equal consultations, common participation and all-win results, with a view to a free trade area of the Asia-Pacific. The Chinese President Xi Jinping on Friday joined other leaders of the Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation economies for a group photograph in Da Nang. Xi received a warm welcome by the Vietnamese president and his wife at a hotel in the city as part of a tradition to pose for a group photo wearing matching outfits. Xi, in his plain blue button shirt, stood alongside other leaders who were all donned in local garb. US President Donald Trump and Russia's Vladimir Putin shook hands at the APEC summit dinner in Vietnam on Friday, even though the White House has said that there will be no formal meeting between the two leaders. Trump and Putin smiled and stood next to each other for the traditional group photograph. Then they parted ways to sit at different parts of the table. And also, the heads of states from the Asia-Pacific region sat down for dinner and a gala performance at the Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation Summit on Friday. US President Donald Trump, Chinese President Xi Jinping and Russian President Vladimir Putin were among those attending and dressed in local costume, as is the tradition for dinner events at the summit. The dinner was followed by a gala performance. Former United States Vice President Al Gore has said on Friday that President Donald Trump's rejection of the Paris Climate Change Pact had not weakened the resolve among many businesses and environmental activists. The Nobel Prize winner has also said that Syria's pledge to sign the 2015 Paris Agreement meant that all countries in the world were now committed to lowering greenhouse gas emissions. He further noted that although Trump had said that the United States will withdraw from the climate pact, they were still committed to stay on until the 4th of November 2020. Fiji has turned a tiny part of Germany into a tropical Pacific island on Friday as it leads global negotiations on climate change, securing a stage for islanders' worries about rising sea levels. Some delegates at the meeting have dubbed the riverside venue Fiji on the Rhine, a contrast to the grey November skies outside in Bonn. Fiji says that we are all in the same canoe in confronting climate change. Scientists at a solar thermal power plant in Germany are using the world's largest artificial sun as well as a large amount of solar panels to conduct research into the carbon dioxide-free production of hydrogen. Researchers at the plant in Jülich are using 149 xenon short arc lights, which together make the structure known as synlight, to produce a glare that is 10,000 times the intensity of the solar radiation at the Earth's surface. A man deliberately ran his car into a group of students outside a high school near Toulouse in southern France on Friday, injuring 3 people. 2 of them are said to be critical. The reports indicate that the driver of the vehicle, 28-year-old man, who was known to the police for committing minor offences, was arrested at the scene of the crime. However, the French police are not treating this as an act of terror. A dashcam video shows the dramatic footage of a car which drove over the top of a parked vehicle and careened across the road outside an Australian hospital. The reports also indicate that Wally Whitworth, the 96-year-old driver, was visiting his sick wife in the hospital when he suddenly lost control of the vehicle. The World War II veteran has suffered injuries to his legs and has also fractured his spine after the accident. A 3-hour chase through the Oklahoma City metropolitan area on Friday ended with the suspect being tased and arrested in a field by the police, and reports indicate that the pursuit began early Friday after the police chased a pickup truck that was believed to be stolen. The suspect led the police in a long chase through back roads and also large fields on the outskirts of Oklahoma City, even driving through fences. The chase came to an end after the suspect backed the vehicle into a pond in an attempt to escape the police. Islamabad authorities have blocked off roads into Pakistan's capital on Friday as an Islamist party that backs strict blasphemy laws has staged a sit-in on a key highway, demanding the resignation of a minister that it blames for changes to an electoral oath. The more than 500 supporters of the Tehreek-e-Labbaik Pakistan Party, or the movement of the Prophet's followers, chanted slogans as speakers addressed them from atop a cargo truck, pledging their lives to protect Pakistan's blasphemy laws. The Catalan Parliament's speaker was released from prison on Friday, but the terms that she'd agreed to in exchange for being granted bail seem likely to prevent her from campaigning on a pro-independence ticket for regional elections next month. She was released on bail of €150,000 after agreeing to renounce any political activity that went against the Spanish constitution. Now, Carme Forcadell appeared in the Supreme Court on Thursday to answer the charges of rebellion, sedition and misuse of public funds after she enabled a declaration of independence by the Catalan Parliament in late October. The leader of Spain's Podemos party met recently with Bolivian President Evo Morales and also received an award from the country's parliament. Pablo Iglesias is on a tour of Bolivia in part to participate in a discussion that commemorates the centenary of the Russian Revolution. The new Director General of UNESCO, Audrey Azoulay, has said on Friday that she will leave the door open for dialogue with member states such as the United States and Israel, who have declared their intention to quit. After a vote, the former French culture minister was officially appointed to head the United Nations institution, hampered by internal conflicts and financial difficulties, further aggravated by Washington's announcement of its departure. Uber is suffering another legal defeat in the United Kingdom on Friday as it struggles to maintain its presence in the country. It lost an appeal against regulators' decision that Uber drivers are entitled to worker rights like the minimum wage and also paid vacations similar to normal employees. The taxi service is likely to challenge the ruling again in a higher body, and the case could go all the way to the Supreme Court. The defeat could also turn out to be a fatal blow for Uber in the United Kingdom. The Hezbollah's leader Hassan Nasrallah has said on Friday that Saudi Arabia had in fact declared war on Lebanon and his Iran-backed group, accusing Riyadh of detaining Saad al-Hariri and forcing him to resign as Lebanon's prime minister to destabilize the entire country. Now, Syed Hassan Nasrallah has said that Saudi Arabia's detention of Hariri, a long-time Saudi ally who declared his resignation while in Riyadh in a televised address last Saturday, was an insult to the Lebanese people, and he's demanded that he should return to Lebanon. A United Nations official has warned about the bleak state of humanitarian aid in Syria and has urged an immediate ceasefire to save a large number of people who have been displaced at a press briefing in Geneva. Now, around 400,000 civilians are in urgent need of humanitarian aid in the besieged city of Damascus and also in the suburbs of the eastern Ghouta province. Though the sphere of influence of the Islamic State is shrinking, the United Nations has still failed to send the humanitarian supplies to the civilians. Nearly a year after the Islamic State was driven from its most important base outside Syria and Iraq, residents displaced from the Libyan city of Sirte have said they still feel neglected and vulnerable and fear the militant threat has waned but has not vanished. The videos show human remains in the rubble of damaged buildings. Residents said that they have been left to be tested to see if they belong to the Islamic State fighters or their captives. The local forces man checkpoints on the outskirts of Sirte and carry out patrols on the south of the city. UNICEF has warned that Yemen's stock of fuel and vaccines will run out in a month unless a Saudi-led military coalition allows aid into the blockaded port of Hodeidah and also the airport of Sana'a. According to the agency, a shortage of fuel will have a dramatic and drastic consequences for the people who are living there, preventing health centers from functioning normally and also disrupting the distribution of clean water and the treatment of wastewater in a country where as many as 2.2 million children are said to be acutely malnourished. Now, 3 upended buses were placed in front of the Brandenburg Gate in Berlin on Friday as a part of an installation by a Syrian-German artist. This is a poignant reminder of a defensive barricade that was erected in Aleppo at the heart of the Syrian civil war. The installation had sparked protest by far-right activists when it was shown in the East German city of Dresden last February. The World Anti-Doping Agency has said on Friday that it had obtained a database that confirmed allegations of widespread state-sponsored doping in Russia that were made in the McLaren report. Nevada has said that it was confident that the file acquired by its investigators and intelligence departments is in the Moscow anti-doping laboratory's testing data from January 2012 till August 2015. WADA has further said that it was finalizing the forensic analysis of the enormous backup file and is expected to provide more information at its executive committee and foundation board meetings in Seoul on the 15th and the 16th of November. Pope Francis, in some of his strongest comments ever on nuclear weapons, has said that the world should condemn not only their possible use but their very possession. The Pope's appeal came at the start of a two-day conference of nuclear disarmament that has brought together 11 Nobel Peace Prize winners as well as United Nations and NATO officials, discussing prospects for a world free of nuclear weapons. Millions of Shiite Muslims gathered in Iraq's holy city of Karbala on Friday for the annual pilgrimage of Arba'in, which marks the end of a 40-day period of mourning for the grandson of Prophet Muhammad, Imam Hussein. The Iraqi authorities have adopted tight security measures before the procession, during which many Shiites walked some 80 kilometers south from Baghdad to Karbala with armored vehicles, soldiers and ambulances escorting the pilgrims. French President Emmanuel Macron and his German counterpart Frank-Walter Steinmeier have inaugurated on Friday a Franco-German World War I Memorial Museum in Alsace. The French and German armies had lost as many as 30,000 soldiers altogether during the battles around this location. The deadliest fighting took place from January 1915 till January of 1916. Scientists have said that artificial intelligence could take power in the future as technology develops. In a video message that was played during the Lisbon Web Summit on the 6th of November, Professor Stephen Hawking was adamant that artificial intelligence could eventually outdo humans. The physicist Max Tegmark has said that when it comes to artificial intelligence, machines could actually outsmart humans in a very short period of time. Germany's Volkswagen will be investing $654 million at its Argentinian plant to build a new sports utility vehicle that will yield about 2,500 new jobs. The investment will go into Volkswagen's automotive terminal in Pacheco, which is Argentina's largest town that is now governed by the Marina Eugenia Vidal. The German car maker plans to launch 20 new models in Latin America by 2020, stoking demand with a goal of returning to profit in the region by that year. Well, to some entertainment news now. An Emmy Award-winning retired American actor John Hillerman, known for portraying the character of Higgins in the 80s television series Magnum Pie, has died of natural causes at the age of 84 at his residence in Houston, Texas. Now, Hillerman was last seen in the 1996 comedy film A Very Brady Sequel and also retired from acting way back in 1999. Colombia's underground Salt Cathedral hosts its first African fashion show 180 meters below the ground level inside a hand-carved cavern in the country's capital of Bogota. The Angolan designer Rui Lopez participated in the show alongside various local designers of African origin. The fashion event that is aimed at creating awareness about cancer by showcasing personal stories of women who have overcome the disease. Many countries like Spain, Netherlands and Canada have been hosts to the fashion show in the past. The Emmy-nominated director Dee Rees' upcoming period drama Mudbound opens the American Film Institute's film festival at the TCL Chinese Theatre in Hollywood. Mudbound has been a popular choice for film festivals this year and stars American singer-songwriter Mary J. and also English singer-songwriter Carey Mulligan. The film will release in select theatres before its worldwide release on Netflix on the 17th of November. And also ahead of its release, Indian filmmaker Sanjay Leela Bhansali, the maker of the Indian period drama film Padmavati, has penned a letter referring to religious sects who have alleged that the makers have shown Queen Padmavati in poor light. In his letter, Bhansali writes with an assurance that the film does not portray Queen Padmavati in an objectionable light. Instead, It speaks about the valor and pride of the Rajput community. Oscar-winning actress Nicole Kidman will be honoured with the Lifetime Achievement Award at the ongoing International Film Festival of Los Cabos in Mexico. Now, Kidman will also present her film The Killing of a Sacred Deer at the event. The film festival is scheduled to run until the 12th of November. Hardik Pandya has been pulled out from India's squad for their upcoming Test series against Sri Lanka. The 24-year-old all-rounder, who had made his Test debut in Sri Lanka earlier this year, has been rested in order to avoid the possibility of a major injury concern, keeping in mind his heavy workload throughout the year. The Indian Cricket Board has told the Indian Sports Ministry that it will not let its players fall under the jurisdiction of the National Anti-Doping Agency NADA. NADA had earlier this year written to the BCCI about conducting tests on India's domestic and international cricketers, but the BCCI in its response has said that by virtue of being under the ICC Anti-Doping Code, they do not require to be scrutinized any further. Chandika Hatturusingha has resigned from his role as the head coach of the Bangladesh cricket team. The former Sri Lankan cricketer was believed to have fallen out with the Bangladesh board over the course of their disastrous tour of South Africa. Hatturusingha had been in charge of the Tigers since 2014. The former world heavyweight boxing champion was on Friday deported from Chile as immigration officials have denied him entry into the country due to his criminal record. Tyson had served a 3-year sentence for a case of rape in the 1990s and had also received separate convictions for assault and drug offences.